if you don't want too many collectibles on your shelf, then try and weigh that up when you're buying a handbag, because I know I've fallen into the habit of just collecting things for the sake of collecting it, like mini pochettes and, you know, random Chanel bags and just random Louis Vuitton bags, even random Hermes bags, to be honest, but you know, they're not always the most practical choice. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. If you love shopping and handbag videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subs. I'm 500 subs away from my goal, so all your help would be amazing. Okay guys, so I was super inspired by Super Jacob's video this morning. He made a video about how influencers get this addiction to collecting designer goods and how you can fall into that trap, and it made me think about collecting handbags in general. I wanted to share my experience with collecting handbags and maybe give you tips on how you can go about collecting handbags if that's something you're interested in. People will argue that collecting handbags is a waste of time and money, that you could be doing better things with your life, but to be honest guys, you can say that about anything in life. I have learned a lot from collecting handbags. I've been able to create a YouTube channel, which has given me a lot of joy, but I mean, I have gone through a lot of sacrifice, you know, time, money, stress with handbags as well. So depending on what age you are or what time you're gonna collect handbags in your life, I think everyone's journey with collecting handbags is different. I started collecting handbags in my early 20s. I was still trying to find my sense of style. To be honest, I'm still trying to find my sense of style, but definitely in my early 20s, I was a lot more experimental. And around this time, I bought a lot of Kate Spade, Coach, Samantha Thavasa bags, Gorman, like just random bags like this, Mimco. Most of the things that I got, I bought secondhand because I was very thrifty. Actually very thankful that I did buy a lot of things secondhand like that, because sometimes in your early 20s, and not everybody, but a lot of people find like in their youth, they're still trying to find their sense of style and what they like. You might be going through a lot of clothes and accessories during your early 20s. I'm glad that I didn't invest in anything too expensive in my early 20s, because I think my taste would have changed, and a lot of the Kate Spade and Coach bags that I did buy secondhand, I was able to sell on without much of a loss. If you are young and starting out with collecting handbags, I would definitely recommend buying secondhand, because knowing the value of what bags are when you resell them is really important if you're unsure about your fashion style and you think you might sell your bags later. Now, earlier on, like buying Kate Spade bags, I definitely didn't think I was ever going to sell them, but you know, I was always very conscious of what the resale value of things are, and I didn't want to overspend for something. I was always looking for a good deal on something, and I'm glad that I didn't like go to Kate Spade and pay full price for these bags, or Coach. And I'm not shaming anyone who does, but I know someone like me, if I just went and spent, you know, $1,000 on a few Coach bags from the store in my early 20s, I would have lost a lot of money through selling them, because they lose a lot of value on the secondhand market. I'm glad that I bought things for like, you know, 50-60% off secondhand, and then once it was time to let them go, I didn't make much of a loss, or I just broke even. So knowing the resale value of things, I think, is important if you're still experimenting with your style, or if you're quite young, because the truth is we only have like a certain amount of space and time to wear all these bags. And if you're somebody who is a handbag fanatic, there's always going to be a new bag and something you're going to want to buy in the future. So it's good to kind of buy things that do have good resale value. So in the case that you need to sell it on, you're not going to be making much of a loss. Now, I think when you're later on in your handbag journey, you can buy things a little more frivolously, because you might be slowing down with your purchases. You might be reaching an age where you really know your style. And I'm still at this point in my 30s where I'm still trying to find my style, but I have been buying a lot of like more expensive bags, but they are bags that I think do have a lot of longevity and will last me. So I don't think, like, most of my bags that I have now, I have no like I don't really want to sell them on in the future. Whereas if I was buying a lot of trendy bags now, I might find that when I'm older, like in my 50s, I might want to like sell them, and it might be a little bit more challenging because they're out of style. And, you know, you look at bags from like 30 years ago, like from Louis Vuitton or even Chanel, and at the time they were really expensive, but then, you know, some certain seasonal styles really just don't hold value for some reason. So yeah, I'm not saying to just buy investment bags, but just understand the resale value of things. Just in the case that you need to sell it on, you might not lose as much money on it, because I think that is important in the long run if you're someone who wants to be a collector of handbags. Now, the next thing is don't settle when you're unsure of a bag. Like, a lot of the time I always get people asking me, like, should I buy this? I'm just not sure about the thing. Or I think it's really good if you're into collecting handbags to go with your intuition, because usually it is right. Like, if you have this strong urge to buy something and like you just know it's clear as day that you love it, that's probably a good purchase. But if you have doubts, it's probably not going to work out. Like, I know 95% of the time when I've gone with my intuition, it's usually right. And I really do think we have this inner intuition with ourselves with like most things in life. You kind of already know the answer within yourself. So I think you can apply that to bags as well. You know, there's been times where I've been sucked into these hyped collections and I had a little bit of doubt about it, but I bought it anyway and I ended up regretting it. But then when there's times where I just absolutely love a bag, it's usually ended up quite well. Trust your intuition, because usually it is correct, and don't listen too much to like your friend's opinion or even my own opinion. Like, you know you the best. You should go with what you feel is right for yourself. When you're collecting handbags, I think it's important to ask yourself, are you buying this bag as a collectible or are you buying it to wear? Because if you're buying it as a collectible, are you okay with just having it on your shelf as a collectible? If it's the case, then yeah, totally buy it. But if you would rather have a bag or put that money towards a bag that you would wear, I think it's really important to note that down, because you could spend like, say, $6,000 on a Chanel Menardier secondhand or something, or you could spend $6,000 on a I don't know, like a Fendi sequin baguette or something, right? And maybe you want to wear the sequin baguette a lot more than the Chanel Menardier because it's more practical for you or something. Like, yeah, like what would you get more enjoyment out of? Buying the collectible or buying the thing that you're going to wear? Because 9 times out of 10, I do have a few bags that I feel like a little bit just like collectible, but 9 times out of 10, I much prefer buying bags that I wear than I just collect. So just if you don't have unlimited funds or space, to be honest, it's not just about the money, it's about the space as well. If you don't want too many collectibles on your shelf, then try and weigh that up when you're buying a handbag, because I know I've fallen into the habit of just collecting things for the sake of collecting it, like mini pochettes and, you know, random Chanel bags and just random Louis Vuitton bags, even random Hermes bags, to be honest. But you know, they're not always the most practical choice. And I've noticed within myself, with my collection now, they're more wearable bags. I find them more practical, and thus I get more enjoyment out of it. So I think it's important to prioritize those things when you're collecting bags, if that's the way you want to go. There are some people who just collect things and they just gather dust, and that's that. If you're okay with that, then yeah, go for it. But everyone has their own intentions with collecting things. When you're buying things secondhand, I think it's always risky, guys. When you're buying anything in the secondhand market, there is no really completely safe way to do it, whether it's on eBay, Vestiaire, Facebook, like everywhere there is a doubt that there is a chance you could get a fake bag, or there's a chance you could buy something not in the best condition or not up to your expectations. So buying pre-loved is always a risk, just know that. And I always get people asking me like, where's the best website to buy pre-loved, la-di-da, but like literally everything is a risk. I've bought things in consignment stores before that ended up being fake, and it's all possible. The only things that you can do is, I guess, try and authenticate your bag a few times just to get a few opinions. Obviously, as time goes by, you will get more of an eye for handbags, so you'll understand what an authentic Hermes bag may look like, or authentic Chanel bag, or, you know, because like I'm somebody who, I have quite an eye for Chanel and Hermes, but I don't have much of an eye for Loewe. So I'm not out here buying Loewe bags secondhand because I don't have much experience with Loewe, so that's why I tend to just buy it from the store. That's just one example. But As time goes by, your eye might get more familiar with what an authentic bag should look like. And I find actually it's a lot safer to buy bags that are less popular because they have a lot less fakes. Like, I don't know, for example, what's an example? Like maybe this Bolide bag, right? This blue Atoll blue Bolide. There are fake Bolides out there, but there's going to be a lot less fakes of this than like a Chanel Classic Flap, like that's for sure, or like a new Chanel 22 bag, because there are some really good super fakes, even of Birkins, that is very hard to tell. So if you are really scared to navigate the pre-love market, I would just try and go for bags that are less faked or less popular, like even something like my Omnibus bag. Like it's pretty hard to find a fake of this, guys. Like it's just such a random bag. So these days, I've been buying a lot of secondhand bags that are a bit obscure and probably less likely to be faked than like a Birkin. That being said, my Birkin was bought secondhand, and my Kellys, and I bought my Kelly from Finkelpuff, and I bought the others from the Persefair. I had them double authenticated, but yeah, it is a risk. It's always a risk buying secondhand, but yeah, sometimes it's better to buy secondhand because it's more sustainable, you get better deals, and you can find bags easier than getting them from the boutique. Like a Birkin, it's very hard to get a Birkin from the boutique, in Australia anyway, but yeah. There are benefits to buying secondhand, but just know that it's never completely safe. Something can always go wrong. Particularly the best deals I found in Facebook groups, and I've like met up with people, and I've actually made friends with people from like, you know, buying bags from them or selling bags to them. But just also know that if you're meeting up with somebody through a Facebook group or something, always make it a public place, because I've heard horror stories of people meeting up with people for bags and like they steal their money and then they run off, or, you know, that's also risky. So just be careful with meeting up with people if you're doing that with handbags. If it's a friend that you already know, it's probably safer, but just be careful about that, because yeah, there's a risk with that as well. And sometimes we can get blinded by a good deal and just hope for the best. But yeah, if it's too good to be true sometimes, guys, I would also steer clear, because there's so many times I've been scammed on eBay. There's so many times where I bought something and it's just been like a piece of crap. So yeah, if it's too good to be true, it's not always worth taking the risk. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not worth taking the risk. So go with your gut, maybe stay away. It's not worth the stress sometimes. I would also recommend making a dream board. On my early collecting days, I always made a dream board. It's fun to make a dream board. It's fun to make albums on your phone. Even just for like, you know, if you want to shop but you can't, just make a dream board, just make a little collage. It is very satisfying just looking at bags, dreaming about bags. And sometimes you might find that you might make a dream board and then later on you find you don't even want that bag anymore. So I find if you're obsessed with something, I just put it in a little album. I just like make a wish for it or whatever. Like I have like a album on my phone called Special Order Birkins and Kellys. I don't expect to get a special order anytime in my life, but I get a lot of satisfaction of just making an album. So if you're somebody who, you know, can't get a bag or saving up for something, to itch that scratch, I just make an album of your favorite bags, because I get a lot of enjoyment out of that as well. I would recommend when you're buying from places like Louis Vuitton, Loewe, Hermes, Gucci, everywhere, if you receive a bag that is not good quality, so stitches popped, peeling leather, don't settle for it, guys. Like, so many of us are settling for these bad quality bags, and that's how these big brands get away with it. Do not settle for bad quality. If something is not up to scratch for you, send it on back, return it, guys, because you deserve really well made bags. So there's a difference between, like, you know, organically like imperfection in the leather or something. It's different between that. Not all bags are perfect, I'm not saying that, but if there's something obviously wrong, like the flap is wonky or there's a pop stitch or something like that, or the leather is peeled off or something, like, you know, a screw fell out, that is something you shouldn't settle for. Honestly, guys, like, I'm fed up of us just settling for these subpar quality all the time, from Louis Vuitton especially. Even Loewe the other day, guys, I got a bag that a stitch popped straight away. Like, it's just ridiculous. We're paying so much money for these bags. We should buy bags that are made to last. And if we keep letting these brands know that we're okay with subpar quality, they're going to keep cutting costs and giving us crap bags. So do not settle for bad quality. I'm sorry, guys. If there is a problem with your bag, send it on back. And I'm not talking about nitpicking. I'm not talking about, like, you know, looking at every stitch and popping it yourself. But, you know, there's a difference between being too obsessed. Like, understand what is normal for a bag, but also don't settle for something that is just, you know, obviously bad quality, because it's just unacceptable sometimes for some of these brands who charge so much money. Anyways, guys, I think I've said a lot, but I've kind of blabbed on randomly, but let me know, are there any tips you have for newbies collecting bags, and do you regret buying a lot of bags? If you have, I sometimes regret some things I did in my handbag collecting journey, but I mean, I've learned a lot from collecting bags. I'm very thankful that I created a YouTube channel from collecting bags, and who knows where it will take me. I think it's good to follow what you love and do what you love in life. So if you love bags, then go for it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you on my next one. Bye!